All right. Welcome back. We're exploring expressive web typography. And so if you haven't heard me in my last live stream, this is really important to me. I love the idea of using type as imagery. And part of that is because I'm kind of sick and tired of seeing AI images kind of scattered throughout my marketing pages or whatever. And so I'm just looking for kind of a fresh way to approach things, because we have, this is our example this week is this kind of like side by side text image. It's like a trope, right? We see this all the time. And instead, what if we had some type here that was like really intentional, really punchy, and could act like an image, but have just a little bit of that extra context. Another thing is I really want to look for ways to involve like accessibility into this. My last live stream was just for fun and stuff and kind of exploring this idea. But it really wasn't accessible because it was a repeat of the title that we were looking at, because we were creating blog like card images, like the featured image. So there's still some work that I want to do with that, and I'm not going to stop exploring that. But I do think that it's going to work very similarly to an alt text of an image, but this time both cited and non-cited users are going to be getting essentially the same experience, because text can be beautiful. And same with if you can't see that text, that alt text could also be beautiful. I think it could be a way to introduce content that's a little bit more meaningful than maybe just describing some random image that has no context or like power to what you're actually doing. So anyway, that's kind of the basis of what we're doing here. And I've already got this kind of set up. It's still pretty so let's see where we can go with this to try to spice this up, make this a little bit more interesting. And so let me show you really quick what I've done here, just to get our bearings. We've got this little, I call it SBS for like side by side or whatever. Not a super huge fan of that name, but I haven't come up with something better just yet. So we're choosing that like flip flop style, right, of text and image, which in our case is expressive typography. Then we've got our body text, which is going to be that denser paragraph style text. And then we've got this class of media, which is what I'm putting in this poster for our typography. And so really simple structure. I'm hoping we can kind of stick with this. We may need to add a little bit of structure within here in case we want to break up things on different lines or whatever, but we'll see kind of where we go from that, because I don't have a huge plan on this. I kind of want to keep this loose and exploratory. So here's I've got a couple of colors I've been playing with, and then really basic, just setting up the grid here. And basically all we have to do is go down to our SBS poster. That's where we're going to be spending most of our time here. And I have some random things I've already plugged in there that have made what we see on the page. So let's get into it and try to find something that's a little bit more interesting. The first thing I wanted to try is probably playing a little bit with like exploding the text kind of outside. So we're gonna hide a little bit of the text and making it really big and bold. So if we go back here, we're already kind of big and bold, but I want to go even bigger and bolder. So let's try, I know that we're kind of at our max as far as like font width, but we could still increase the size just a little bit. So I'm going to go over here. Let's do like a 7 rem and just see how that works, because I think, okay, so now we're starting to clip on our humanity, which is totally fine. I can always go back in here. We're going to get rid of this padding for a second and see if we can get that. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm like wanting this to kind of feel like it's bigger, larger than life, bigger than this container can hold. So we're already getting super close to that. And then this is where I think we need to start breaking up some of the HTML in this part right here. So I'm gonna add some span tags just to, well, actually I might, yeah, I'm gonna use some span tags. So I'm basically gonna separate these words so that we can play a little bit with the alignment of each word itself. So I'm gonna do, yeah, let's wrap this with a span of, let's give it a class name. I'm just gonna do first, yeah, for my class names are gonna be struggling for a second here while I figure this out, but we'll do a span of first, second, and third. Oops, span dot second and span dot third. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Nope. Wrap. There we go. Wrap this with a span dot third. And let's do that. So now we should be able to control the first, second, and third word, since this is not, we're not working on like a CMS style, like super templatized thing just yet. We can go in here and say first, I'll just make the classes first so that we can second and third, so we don't have to worry about that as we go along. Whoops. Third. And now let's see. Right now we're left aligned, which is great. I'm wondering if we can kind of because the thing is, the cool thing about type is you can cut off the bottom half of words and still pretty well read it. So like humanity, you can see almost, if you look at the very bottom of like where the H ends, the M, all those little lines that we've got, it kind of creates this little bar at the bottom. If you're looking at kind of like the negative space where the words aren't. So we've kind of got this bar. We could actually like pull humanity down and chop off a lot of it and still read it as humanity, because we actually read the top half of our words, our letters, at least in English, and generally the Latin style words, like letter sets. So like a Roman, or any kind of those Roman languages are going to be able to, you can cut off that bottom half of the word. I think that's really fascinating. So I wonder if we can play with that just a little bit, but we also don't want to cut off too much of the outside of the word. So like the upgrade, the U of upgrade, or the Y of humanity is probably already about where we could cut it off without losing too much readability. So this is where it gets kind of interesting, I think, to kind of play with this stuff. So I'm going to, I was wondering if we can do this without absolute positioning things, but I almost wonder if we do that, if that would make things a little bit easier. But let's start off with, let's just kind of play around with the alignment. So I'm going to do a text align on our first word, upgrade. I'm going to put that on all the way to the right. And then we're going to do the same on the third word, and then the second word is going to be on the left. So let's just see what this does. So not too much has changed, right? I'm just trying to push this a little bit to the edge here. This is now on the edge, and humanity is so large that it kind of already feels like it's left aligned, even though it's bleeding. So it's really just huge. Let's take the font size down just a little bit so we can explore this just a little bit before we go too much farther into into this because I think this is going to be kind of cool if we can get this. Yeah, see, we're kind of pushing it to the outer edges, not cutting things off just yet. So yeah, that font size was just a little bit maybe too large for this specific idea. That's just kind of interesting. The other thing, before we absolute position stuff and kind of play with chopping things up, I do want to show you one more thing, is if we go all caps. So right now I just have exactly what it is in the HTML, but if we want to change it to all caps, we can do a text-transform and capitalize, nope, not uppercase, thank you. And then we're going to go over here. Let's see how that changes things. Interesting, right? So now this is where that cutting off thing doesn't really work anymore. If we cut off the bottom, it's still going to be fairly difficult to read because uppercase kind of creates these bars almost. So like we could fill this almost with a black bar, and it's that there's really no way for us to easily determine what this word would be if a large amount of it was chopped out. So like the bottom half, it's going to be a lot harder to read than if it was still lowercase with some of that difference in how some letters have an ascender or a descender, or they have different shapes. A lot of that you lose with uppercase. So it's really kind of interesting. And you can see that this font size is way too big for a full uppercase all caps treatment. So that's kind of interesting. And again, we're just kind of getting our feet wet here with looking at kind of what we have to play with. So here, if I just shrink that size down just a little bit, we can see humanity is kind of back to where we started. We can see this one is starting to be pushed to the right. This one is obviously fully on to the left, and this one is still a little bit too large. So if I just go back in the background here and just change the font size just a little bit so we can see the dramatic difference that the case has on our typography, that's good to know. So we've now finally gotten to this nice, like, it's clearly right aligned and left aligned with this word. Cool. So yeah, I think this gives us some ideas to play with. The other thing is, before we absolute position, we do have also some options for like rotation. So we could rotate the whole thing, because I'm on the SBS poster, so that's like the parent of these words, and or at least the containing element. We can do a transform of rotate, and we could do like, I want to do something kind of subtle, so maybe like a 12-degree rotation here. And if we go back over here, oh hey, and I was not expecting that, because I forgot that the background color is not on the media, it's on this, which actually is kind of cool. It almost makes its own like shape, which is kind of this is unexpected and kind of cool. I actually really like that. That was 100% unexpected, and yeah. Again, because the background color is on the container of this text, rather than, if I pull up here, maybe I pull up the grid here. So if we dive in here, we've got our SBS, that's our side-by-side, so the text and image. And then if we expand this more, we've got our media. So if I change the background color to the media element instead, then the whole thing would be a square orange, or the rectangle orange. But since I've got it on the SBS poster where my text is, it's creating that cool shape. So actually, yeah, I just this is already cool. I think there's some ways that we could use this. So I'm going to save this as a potential layout. So let's do this. Let's go over here. I'm going to say, let's see, how do we want to do this? Maybe I'll copy this because I want to make sure I can kind of add this as a gist on GitHub in case you want to take a look at the code again. So I'm going to call this our SBS poster. Let's do, I'm just going to call this something else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll call it an octagon, I guess. Octagon upper. So that'll help me sort of remember what we chose to do here. So I'm going to get rid of this. Let's get rid of some spaces here and clean that up. And then I'm going to create a brand new one of these. So right up here, boom, create a new one. And this one's going to be called SBS poster, octagon upper. So cool. We've got our first, our first success here, I think. So I'm saving this one because that was pretty cool, and let's go to the next one and kind of explore maybe some absolute positioning. Oh, but first let's try let's get this background color on the media for this one. So if I go, I'm just going to cut this out and we're going to do dot media, and if I hit let me add another class to this one. So, well, I'll just do second for this one because I'm not sure what this is going to turn out to be like. So if it's in our second and the media, then we're going to do background color on there instead. And so let's see if I got that figured out right. Okay, perfect. So this is more of kind of what I was anticipating. Let me put some more space in here. Sorry, I'll put some big space. There we go. Okay, so now I can scroll down a little bit more. Oh, no, I can't still, but that's all right. So we're working on this bottom one now. And this is kind of what I was expecting, is to kind of like play with the rotation of these. We could still rotate individual words. So we've got, if I go back to our CSS, we could now do, actually I'm just going to put this all under second. Maybe that's the better way to do it. So we've got our first word. Maybe that's what's going to be rotated 12 degrees, and then I can just copy this down. Maybe I'll do like -12, and then on our last word, maybe we'll make this just a little bit more tilted, so like 20 degrees or something like that. And if we go back here, refresh, and now we've kind of got a little bit of a jumble, so I need to relax some of that degrees. So I'm going to do one last thing to clean this up. Let's do 20 rem maybe. See if I can scroll better. Nope, I still can't. Fine, I will do something like this. I'll just show you what I'm doing in the background and just making a little spacer so that we can actually see the bottom of our stuff. So I'm going to do a height of like 6 rem. And this is just a throwaway div so that we can have some space underneath. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got this. I need to tweak the angles here just a little bit so they're not quite so large. Here we go. Let's do like, let's cut it in half maybe. Let's do 6, and then this one could probably be 12. I'm not sure. We'll see. See what happens. There we go. That's a little bit better. This one might still be just a little bit too much, so we could just mirror it, because essentially the first and the third are basically doing the same things. So we could almost just do this instead and just get rid of this, so that they match, so that there's kind of like this parallel this parallel treatment, I guess, of that. And then to fix this, because it's not quite, it's still a little too close to humanity, right? So we could this is where we could start doing some absolute positioning, or we could just kind of edit, what can we do here? We could edit the we could do like a margin top of a negative, like probably 1 rem, probably not too aggressive here. I wonder if that would help at least pull it up closer to upgrade. Okay, and then maybe we need a margin on the bottom to push humanity down, and we would need something a little bit stronger than our 1 rem, so maybe 2 rem. More than our top here. So if I go, okay, so that feels like a little bit better of a rhythm. We've got upgrade, your humanity. This is not quite my favorite. I definitely like this better, just because it has some like, I don't know, there's something about this, is like, it's probably that shape makes it kind of interesting. And this is a little bit too, like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it has that grid that I feel like typography really thrives on. And maybe it's because this upgrade and humanity don't feel like they're living on the same right aligned angle. I'm not totally sure. So anyway, we've got some options here. We've got this. Let's try getting rid of the uppercase and just see how that feels, if that's any better. Nope. Well, yeah, I still feel like it's too maybe childish or something. Like it doesn't feel sophisticated enough for what I was hoping for. So that, I mean, it still works. It still works. I'm going to, let's go back. Yeah, let's go back to, we'll go back to uppercase, and let's just do some absolute positioning just to kind of see what else we can do with this. So I'm going to get rid of the rotation here, and let's go back to how we had it with each class being controlled by its own. So I'm going to get rid of all of our rotations. We don't need the margins anymore. And the last thing is we want to make all of these absolute positions so that we can kind of have a little bit more control over where we're placing them. So let's do first, actually we can just do this. We can do span. We can have that be position absolute, because all of these are span tags in the HTML, so we can do that. And then we can just have all of this, instead of being text align, right? So we can just, we'll worry about that a little bit later, but we'll just set like in this case, our top is 0. We know that's gonna be the last one's gonna be on the bottom, so we're doing a bottom of 0, and as far as the left and right, we'll have to figure that one out. Let's center this one though, top of 50% with a transform of -50%. Oops, transform translate on the y-axis, and that will be negative 50%. So if I go back over here, hopefully we've got it. Nope. Oh, yep, I forgot. Oh, let's put our, let's see, position relative on our SPS poster, and hopefully that helps just a little bit. Not really. What did I do wrong here? Oh, and I think I need a height on this. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need a height because right now it's at 0. So I'm gonna have to, yeah, again, not my favorite, but this is something that we can explore. Is we're gonna add a, let's do a min height of like, I don't know, 400 pixels. And there we go. So now we've got our stuff back. If I change the height down to like 200, is that gonna squish those together? Yes. Okay, perfect. So the height is kind of playing a little bit because right now our top, our middle and bottom words are all kind of like dependent on the container, so the height of this container. And so that is changing the line height a little bit, but that kind of makes for some interesting, again, ways to kind of play with our text here. And that's kind of interesting. We'll go back to 400 because I feel like that was a pretty decent size. And then the last thing is, let's play just a little bit with kind of that cutoff feel. So I'm gonna do, on all of the spans, they're gonna be, yeah, let's just do left for now. So left is gonna be like a negative 20 pixels. So I'm trying to like pull it off screen just a little bit, hopefully not too much. Yeah, see, you can see now this is where it gets really tricky because you don't want to cut off too much of your text because it's really hard to read what this is. If this was more, was it like a J? I don't know. JPG RAID, like it could be something about JPEGs. I don't know. So this is kind of the fun part, but also frustrating. And then you add responsive, like the responsive side of things, and it gets a little bit more tricky. But this is kind of what designers do, is just tweak a little bit of the values here and there, see what happens. There we go. See, like, I can live with that kind of corruption, if you will, losing just a little bit of that bar on the U or the Y or the H. I can still read this pretty well. I wonder if we go up in our font size just a little bit for this one, so we can go back to maybe that's 6.5, something like that. And okay, that was a little bit too much, so I'm going to go back to just 6 behind the scenes here and refresh. There we go. So we can kind of see that Y. It might still be just a little bit too aggressive, so I'll change it to a 5.8 rem behind the scenes, and that way we can kind of read this word just a little bit better. And the last thing we can do is we could shift this all the way to the right and see what that looks like. Since we're absolutely positioning things, we could change the left on our left. I'm gonna put as unset. If I can type, there we go. Right is gonna be, I'm gonna mirror it, so it's gonna be like negative 10 pixels. So I'm basically just taking whatever this value is, but I'm gonna put it on the right. And let's go back over here and refresh. And there we go. We've got our your. It is getting a little bit chopped off, and this is where it's like, technically that's fine. It's not the best, because I'm seeing this super teeny tiny little like triangle sliver where the the bowl of the R, and that extender comes out. So that's kind of it's a tangent, really. It's something that we like to, with, if you're a designer, you go like that, you just like cover it up. So that's one thing to just note, is that it does get a little bit tricky when you're cutting off probably the right side of most letters is where you're going to see that. So like if this were a G, this might be a problem. However, we're also playing with stuff, so make your decision there. But yeah, we've got this. This is kind of interesting. I don't think it's our strongest one. This I think is more interesting visually. This one is okay. I think this is still a good, like, it's really punchy. It is a little bit edgy because we're chopping off some of those letters, so it's a little bit like, I don't know, edgy kind of, but like not like so much that it's like annoying. I feel like we could probably need to tighten up that spacing. So I feel like there's too much space between the words here, between each one. So what I could do is, instead of doing a top with a 0, we could do like, I don't know, we could try like a percentage, like maybe just like 10% off the top. Oops. And then same with the bottom down here. So instead of just putting it straight on the top and the bottom, we could try and just shift these down just a little bit. That looks a lot better to me. I feel like there's a little bit better rhythm, and that kind of makes it more interesting. Yeah, I feel like that's a better balance. So I think this is a good one we can save as well. And let's go on to another idea. So if I go over here, let's grab this and change this to third concept here, and we'll create a brand new one of these too. Yeah. Boom and boom. Third. So what is our next one? Let's make sure I copied it. Okay, perfect. So I would like to go back to not so blocky. Let's go back to our just like non-transformed casing. So I'm going to get rid of this one, this text transform. And I want to also play with the idea of, let's see. I'm trying to think, like, because we've done a little bit of shifting. Maybe we go back to a little bit of a rotation, but this time I want it to be a little bit more organic than just doing these like huge blocks of basically straight lines. So yeah, we're getting rid of the let's see. Yeah, let's get rid of the absolute positioning for now. I'm gonna go. I'll just delete that because we can always return to it. I'm gonna get rid of our tops and our bottom so that it's just nice, and there we go. Cool. So we've got our lowercase stuff. How can we make this a little bit more interesting? We can also play with the thickness. It doesn't have to be thick to be cool, right? It could be thin, a thinner font. So if I go back in here, I think I had this font stretch. So we're gonna squish it just a little bit, and then also take off some of this weight. So maybe let's do like, I don't know, 300. Let's go really thin and see what happens here. So again, this is a variable font from GitHub, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. But now we've got it's squished, right? But much thinner strokes, and thinner as far as like how it's taking up space. And this is where I wonder, we can make this a little bit more elegant. Maybe this is where we need to have something that's more like kind of refined. And so we're going to want to have a lot of good white space in this case when we have something so thin. Let's go back in here and I'll restore this padding on our text. Let's see. Okay, so now we have some breathing room around it. I think this text has some chance to breathe. The other thing is we may want to get rid of the spans on this. Let me see. Upgrade your humanity. And you know what? This width is not quite playing well with that font stretch. I think let's get rid of this for now and see what happens. See if that's, yeah, see, that just feels a little bit more not so squished, right? Since we have such a thin weight of the strokes, we need to balance that with how tight those letters are. I just feel like this keeps it open enough for me to read it better. So we could still squish it down just a little bit, but definitely not as aggressively as this 87%. So we probably get closer to like, I don't know, 95 or something. Let's see what that does. Yeah, see, it's still subtle enough to change that font feeling, but it's not too aggressive to fight with the stroke widths. As far as readability goes. So I'm a little bit happier with this. So I'm wondering how we can make this just feel a little bit more elegant, because I wonder if we just need more white space, because that tends to help with that. I think we need to take down our font size, maybe down to like a 4 rem, and then also we'd want to increase our padding just a little bit. I want to kind of maybe anchor it to the bottom of this square so that there's more white space above the text. Because I feel like then we're getting into this like intentional grid of our type within the container. So let's see what this did first. Okay, and we're still pretty much in the center. So I want to pull that down so that's a little bit closer to the bottom here. Let me double check. I want to make sure that I inspect here. I want to make sure. Okay, so we are kind of centering things with flex. Okay, so let's go back over here, and that would be right here. So I wanted to put this on the bottom, so I'm going to do a flex end instead. And just refresh that. Okay, so there we go. We could probably make this even more. When you go to extremes, that's when you really show your intention, right? From a design aspect, it's like we're gonna put in a lot of space. So let's go back here. Let's go all the way up to like a 5 rem. We might, let's do 5 rem first. Oops, that's not quite what I was hoping for, because we want to keep it. Oh yeah, so that's not quite what it is. Let's go back to 3 rem, because I like the space around the edges, but I want to increase the space on the top. So basically I have a couple choices. We can change the container height, because that is something that we've set here. For the minimum height, so we could change this to like 600, like this. That's probably a little too much, so I'm gonna hit undo behind the scenes, and I'm just going to change the font size one more time to like 3.5 instead of 4. So that was all behind the scenes. I'll refresh, and that feels a little bit better as far as what I'm trying to get to, which is that like we're kind of like sinking. We're creating a like almost like an earth. We've got our gravity that's like pulling the text down to the floor almost, but having that breathing room still. But it's a little bit heavier and anchored to the bottom. And then the last thing is, I don't think it's working. It's not working the best with this upgrade your humanity in all 3 lines. I mean, it kind of is. I'm just not super satisfied with it for some reason. And I think maybe it's because there's too much variation in the length of the word. I'm not 100% sure why. But we can play with that. We can go back into our HTML and see if we can't just, let's just pull this out and put it up here. I wonder if that'll, oh, whoops, that's the wrong one. Here we go. I'm just going to pull it out of here. I can't remember if this is actually going to, there we go. So yeah, that feels a little bit better to me. There wasn't quite such a big hole in the middle of the lockup. Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting. To have so much intentional space. We'd still, I almost wonder if we need like just a little something in like maybe the top corner or something. We could add like, just to kind of reinforce the grid here. So if I go into our code, we could add just a little bit of a before pseudo element. With some content, we could do like we could do a number or even like an arrow, just to be kind of, I don't know. I just think that would be kind of cool. So yeah, let's do that. Let's do a before, and then let's do, yeah, we can do a before. We're gonna do content. We're gonna set this to something. I don't quite know just yet. We could do, I'll just do, hopefully I know nope. I don't know the secret. Oh no, come on. It's one of these. I don't know. I'll just keep this here for a second. I won't search for all of my hidden, keyboard, whatever they are, diacritical marks and stuff like that. We're gonna do let's do position absolute on this, and then we'll stick it on at the very top. Yeah, let's just see what that does, because I'm not entirely sure. Okay, that is essentially what I was looking for. I want to have a different arrow, so I'm actually gonna look this up. Right here, let's do like HTML entities arrows. So this is one of my favorite sites, is this TopTal, and I just want an arrow for this, so I'm just gonna snag one of these, because they're HTML entities are some of my favorites for like adding just a little bit of a symbol to my HTML. It's gonna be, for the most part, in most of our fonts that we use. I'm looking for one. I need to make this like a snippet, so I just have it, because I always lose it and I always want it. Yeah, we could do one of these or something kind of fun, I guess. Maybe we'll snag this one. And what I want is, I actually want the Unicode, because we're going to be using this in the CSS. And so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to try and grab just the ID here. Oh, that didn't work, but that's all right. Oh yeah, so actually it shows you right here. This is what we want. And so we're basically taking the ID, I guess right here in the hex code, and then putting a slash in front of it. And that can be our content, so that when we're using it in CSS, we want it in this format. If we were using it in HTML, like directly in the HTML, then you would use this one up here, this HTML code. So just in case you were curious about that. So I'm going to go back to our code, and then right up here, instead of this thing, I'm going to paste that little code right here, and that will hopefully add in our little cool looking arrow. There we go. It's actually, I don't mind that. That's kind of, it's just kind of interesting, right? So it's just supposed to be just a little bit something to kind of reinforce this left aligned what's it called, the axis there, but it is a little bit too close to the top. So I want to mirror what the bottom is here. So that would be 3 rem. So I'm going to add that to the top. Instead of a 0, let's do 3 rem from the top. And I'm pulling that from whatever our padding is. And then if we go back here, refresh, a little bit too aggressive. I think it could still be up a little bit higher, and the reason why is because the arrow is trying to mimic this font size. However, it is a little bit shorter than your X height. At least it kind of looks like it. The top of the arrow might be the X height. Anyway, it's not quite the same as like the height of this A, for example. And so it looks a little bit shorter, which means that it's adding a little bit of extra visual space, even if it's technically correctly pulled down by 3 rem. So I'm going to just pull this up just a little bit to like 2.5 rem. And hopefully that looks... Yeah, so like visually it feels like this is more like the same space on top as this is on bottom below the humanity line right here. And again, that's just an optical thing. It could have been perfectly aligned before, who knows. But because of the shape, the actual shape of this arrow, we got to account for that. And I think this is looking a little bit better to me because we have our reinforced grid from our axis on the up and down, and even on the horizontal axis, with that spacing below and above this new element here. I think this is a lot more solid than what we had before. That's not to say that you can't have tons of like white space, like go for it. But I think in this case, we needed a little bit of something to just kind of anchor these, this headline here. And so I think we can call that another one. So we've got some variety now. And I'm really enjoying this idea of having this paint with typography thing. So let's do another one. Let's grab our HTML, copy that down, change this to 4th, and let's grab our classes again, change this to 4th, and let's try another one. Let's do all right, so now we've kind of practiced with our thinner stroked font. It is very white space, that's very much the feature of this one. Let's go really I was thinking this could really blow up in my face because I'm not familiar with rotating and in 3D for CSS, but maybe that could be kind of a cool thing. So let's get rid of let's clean this up just a little bit. We're gonna get rid of this before because I don't think we need this anymore. And then we're also gonna increase our our font size back to 5 rem. We're going to make this just a little bit thicker than before. Let's just see what I've done here. There we go. Okay, so we might want to go. Actually, yeah, maybe that's fine. Maybe I'll just get rid of the thinning out, or like the squishing of the lettering, so that we're just kind of the natural size of those letters. And let's see, I wanted to do one more thing, but yeah, I think that's good. And we've got our background color up here. So here's what I'm thinking. We'll do an experiment because I don't know what this is like. We'll do a transform and a rotate 3D, and I have to read my little hint here in Visual Studio Code. Clockwise 3D rotation by the angle specified in the parameter about the XYZ direction vector. So I don't know what that's gonna look like, but I'm assuming we can pass it in 3 different values to kind of change how this is rotating on those axes. So rotate Y. Oh, actually, maybe we just do one angle for now. Let's see. So X, I want to kind of like, and maybe rotate isn't the right one. Is there like a skew? Oh, there is a skew. Okay, well, let's go back to rotate just so we can play with it and see what happens here. So I'm gonna do rotate 3D. Let's do let's do like, I don't know, 12 degrees. And we'll just see if, I'm assuming if we just do one value, maybe it does it in all 3 axes. I'm not 100% sure. It did not do that. So we'll go back here. That shift was just from me deleting that font stretch. So let's do like, oh, and it's, I don't know, maybe it's not supposed to be degrees. 12. I don't actually know how this works. So yeah, maybe I won't be playing with this one. Let's try skew. Oops, skew with the X axis. Is this one where we need a degree? That's what I'm not sure. Okay, so that one is okay. So this one works a little bit more like I would be used to. So yeah, we're basically like shifting the top of the words to the left and the bottom to the right, so that we're getting this kind of like, we're pulling the words. So yeah, we're kind of changing the shape there. That's kind of interesting. I think we could combine that with a rotate. Yeah, and maybe that's kind of the, I'm not sure actually. Rotate, because we don't have to do transform necessarily. We could do a rotate now. I think that has decent browser support. We'll see. But now we can, this makes it kind of interesting because we're not quite, what am I trying to say? We're not quite destroying the integrity of these letters. I feel like we're still okay because they're pretty subtle. But this is kind of cool because we've already kind of fixed this so that the line is still straight on the left side, but we've also introduced kind of like this kind of movement or this energy by kind of changing the text just a little bit with that skew. I feel like that's kind of cool. It almost does accomplish that like rotational in 3D space with this. And actually I kind of like that. I really like how this is playing well with the space and making it, I don't know, like there's something about this that's kind of interesting. I think there's too much space on the left, so maybe we can fix up the padding. Let's go like 2 rem maybe, so it's not quite so, there we go. Yeah, that's just really interesting. And maybe we need to, because now I guess the Y here is getting a little bit too close. Excuse me, for the bottom here, but I don't know. There's still something I really enjoy about this one. Yeah, and I think it's because we're kind of playing with 2 different axes. It's almost like we've got a window and then we've pushed our text, at a slightly different angle than our axis of viewing. So I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. But I do think maybe if we tighten up the line height, we can pull that humanity away from the bottom and not be quite so aggressive. Let's just like, yeah, let's just tighten it up just a teeny little bit. Okay, that actually may have been too much. Let me go back to, maybe it's not the line height really, because it's hard because when we're playing with these axes, it's like I gotta rethink how I'm thinking about things. Our padding is fine on the left, but not on the top and bottom. So maybe we just do like let's see, top and bottom. So I don't want any padding on those, and we're just going to, oh, and I forgot we're at flex end, so maybe we'll just center it and remove the padding on the top and the bottom. Okay, so that's a little bit better. I still liked having some of that padding, so maybe we'll go back to it, because maybe it was that flex alignment that was kind of messing me up. So that did not change anything. Cool. Let's double check how our padding is working here. Oh yes, okay, I see. Yeah, so again, that rotation is, and that skew is kind of changing how this is working. So I've got to figure out like a little bit of a different way of interacting with this kind of stuff. Oh, that's really interesting. Ew, that's kind of low-key blowing my mind right now. So I'm gonna mess with the padding just a little bit more. Instead, let's do, we know that 3 was too much on the left, but it was good on the, I think, the top. So if I go back here, we're gonna refresh. Oh, you know what? Now that's better, because again, we've got our, yeah, dang it. What do I want here? Maybe, because really my main problem was that this descender was getting too close to the bottom of our box. So maybe now it's a matter of like changing the font size just to like put it down just a little bit. So if we go to like 4.5, let's see what that does. There we go. Okay, well, that's a little bit more of what I was trying to do, because I kind of liked it having enough space on the bottom, and not, but it still kind of feels anchored to the top, almost like it's like a sign or something, or maybe like your window like shutters are like kind of hanging a little bit. I don't know. There's something interesting about this. So anyway, I think this is a cool one to add to our little what we've got so far. We've got quite a few different takes on this headline. I wonder if we can do maybe one more type treatment. This is really cool. Let's try another one. I'm gonna copy all of this down, create a new class. Fifth. It's our fifth concept here, and we're gonna copy all of our HTML, and let's call this one fifth, and save. So let me make sure I got that. Cool. All right, so another one. Let's reset this just a little bit. I'm gonna go in here and let's get rid of the transforms. And the last thing that I wanted to try is, let's go back here and make sure. Okay, so now we're kind of reset. So let's take a look at this. We've done a lot of left aligned things, and we even did some like of the where we kind of blew it apart. Let's try a right aligned version, because right aligned text is harder to read. However, this is such a short headline, and we can make this big and chunky enough that I feel like it can be just like an interesting design feature, instead of worrying too much about readability. Like for a left to right language like English, we want to have things left aligned for like paragraphs and stuff, but I think we can break that rule in this case with this headline. So let's do a text align of right, and let's see what we can do as we play with this. So now we're kind of changing the shape of things, because now we've got all of this space on the left side of our words now, and we have a different, it just feels different, and we can play with this a little bit more. I'm wondering if we can. Yeah, I almost kind of just like having this because so this one's really simple. Just having this as something to remember that because it's very short headline and it's very large, I think we can get away with a right aligned treatment. And it does, especially because our text is on the left, the long form text. It probably wouldn't look as good if we swapped positions. So like, let me just do that really fast. So if we put the media first, because maybe you like flip flop your content, right? I don't think. Oh, actually, you know what? Eating my words, because you gotta test things, right? This isn't too bad, because we have fairly similar spaces between like the end of the headline and the orange, and then we've got that white space, the actual white color, before we start into our long form content. That's very rhythmically similar. So like we have fairly similar what are they called, like padding spaces. And then we've got, I don't know, it just kind of it's almost like I don't know, like a butterfly wings or something, where we've got like something stable in the center, and then the text is going around it to the outside, and that's where we've got the variation of word endings, line endings. So this is kind of working interesting. This is a lot better, a lot stronger than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to compete too much, but I actually think this is a good one. So let's just do one more, because I think we can still push this. And let's go back. Actually, I'm going to copy this one where we had that same layout where the long form was on the left, and I'm going to change this to 6, and then grab this one and change this one to 6 and save so that we can kind of see how that works. There we go. Okay, so that's cool that this is flexible enough to work on either side. So that's something to remember with this one. I wonder if we can do one more thing with this right aligned, and I wonder again if we kind of rotate it so that it is actually top down or bottom up. I'm not sure which one. Ooh, actually, yeah. If it's right aligned, then it probably would work better top down. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. So if we go back here, we're going to rotate our text. Let's do 90 degrees. Oops. I think. Okay. So yeah. So I don't think that's going to work. I think we would want it. Well, I don't know. That's not. I don't know. That's not my favorite. It's going to be very difficult to read this. I'm not just talking about the being cut off. Mostly because of this, like this. I don't know. The right aligned with this bottom up. That doesn't work really well for readability. So let me try swapping this to like 270. There we go. So upgrade your humanity. Again, not worrying too much just yet about the top here. Let's see. It's yeah. I think we could fix this. Let's go with a. Yeah, actually, I'm not sure on this one. What do we want? Inspect here. And let's double check. Oh, so the padding is, I think, part of our problem. So maybe if I got rid of the padding. Nope, that's not quite it. Okay, so we're probably gonna want to absolute position this if we do tip the text like this, so that it's top down, or like, basically we've completely flipped this on its side here. So I want to do, yeah, this makes it tough. Let's do our span again, and we'll absolutely position this one to absolute, and we'll go with we'll rotate the span instead of the right there. We'll rotate the span instead. I think that's gonna work. Oh no, it did not. Oh no. So okay, we're gonna go back, move that back up here. Oops. I've absolutely positioned everything, and then let's because I had everything in a separated separated piece here. Let's combine all of them so that we can not worry about that. Okay, here we go. So we've got upgrade your humanity. What I want to do is like pull this down just a little bit. So I'm gonna have to, let's go back to the code really fast, and then we're gonna go let's do top of 0 and try to pull that all the way down. And then the last thing I want to do is change we're gonna want to put probably line breaks in each of these, because we don't want huge long things like this right now where we've got upgrade your humanity being super long. So I'm gonna hit save behind the scenes and refresh. Okay, that's a lot better. That's kind of more of what I was hoping for. The top is still oh, interesting. Is that because of the padding? I think so. Let's try. Nope, that was not. Okay, so I'm restoring the padding here and refreshing. Let's do a top. We're gonna put like 1.5 rem. I'm just gonna cut off the middle of the padding on the top, and then I will also want I think we want the right, because I want to put it in the right corner. Let's put a right of 0, save. It always boggles my mind when we do like rotational stuff, because it changes everything. Okay, that's right. So we want to top right. Oh, I think, yeah. So yeah, that's again why I'm struggling here. Okay, so right, let's do right is 0. That's correct, I think. Top is gonna be let's just change that. I'm having, yeah, okay, so that's pushing it to the left. So top is now going to the left in my mind, and right is now going to the top. So let's do, the right should be 1.5 rem, and then we're gonna switch this to bottom. We can keep it at 0.5 because I want to pull it to R. From looking at this, I want it to be on the right corner, so I'm gonna hit refresh. There we go. And then, so the top is still a little bit too much, so that's actually our right. So I'm gonna take it down to 0.5 rem, see if that works. Nope, wrong way. Let's go 3. And nope, still too much, so I'm gonna change it behind the scenes. Let's do 4 rem. Okay, there we go. Oh my goodness, this is hard when you rotate your axis. So I'm gonna change the right one more time to 4.5. That's okay. I mean, we're kind of being a little bit edgy with this one because we're rotating things. It's very much not the way that English works, right? So we're kind of really breaking all the rules here. to see how this works. Bottom, I'm gonna change, let's see, do I want to, okay, that's not right. Let's do like 0, I guess, to see if I can push it closer to the edge here. So I'm gonna have to do negatives, is what that means. So let's do a negative 1.5 rem and see if we can finally get it into that corner just a little bit more. And then I need to increase that top just a little bit more space on the top. So that's our right. I'm gonna change that to like maybe 6. I feel like I have to be kind of aggressive with that one. Okay. Wow. Okay, so this one I am not super pleased with. It's breaking a lot of rules. We're right aligning a left to right language, and we're also rotating it. So it's definitely one of those, like, you should have a reason for this. I might just change this to left aligned, just so that we can have. I just feel like this is. See, even that just reads a little bit better, because again, with English as a left to right language, we reset our eyes reset to the left when we're going through lines, and so I feel like this is a little bit more readable, and it's very difficult to read when we've rotated to the top or the bottom. That's not to say it's not. It's totally up for grabs as a design tool. I do think it needs to be left aligned. I feel like this works a lot better, and it might still be. Yeah, this one's hard because I kind of want this to be almost like bigger font size, but I also appreciate the space around it because I feel like we really need some like breathing room for this, because our brains need to be able to like process all this stuff going on that we don't normally see it like this in English. So I think we'll keep it like that. I wanted to check the comments. I apologize for the delay here. Border for div with background color, border radius. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's give that a try. Let's try one more. I am gonna try and see if I can make something that kind of maybe helps with this. 7th. Here's our 7th concept. I'm going to copy all of this down and change this to 7th. Cool. And let me just copy that, make sure. Okay. So let's reset everything. And let me go back to your comment and see if I can make something. Let's see. We want to get rid of all of this stuff. Text align by left is by default. Let's see. And then we want to get rid of our span thing here. Let's save that. There we go. That's a lot better. We can definitely read this one. Yeah, border radius for div with background color. Oh, so let's see. I think if we're talking about like on this part where the background color is, adding a border radius, that will clip like the corners, like to make them a little bit rounder, maybe a little more friendly. So we could do something like, I don't know, 15 pixels, and let's see what that does to our orange here. That is definitely a lot more friendly. It's kind of funny how that makes such a difference. I do really like that. I wonder what we could do to kind of make this. Actually, you know what? Let's try one more with this. I like to play with this. We could do a border radius. Let's see, border top left. Yeah, let's cut off. Like, let's make the top left kind of like a really huge, like corner almost. So we can control each corner on its own, or do a border radius like we had before and just do all 4 at the same time. But in this case, let's really make this like super exaggerated and see how we can use this to play with our text. So now we've got this huge like curve. I wonder if we could do... I wonder if we could do the other side really fast. We still want the top, but let's do right and see how that works with our letters. That's kind of interesting, because we've got the E at the end, and we've got a circle already kind of, and we're curving. I'm trying to figure out like how we can play with this a little bit more with the text. Cause I'm like also we could go back to like an uppercase. Let's just see what that looks like. Text transform uppercase, and we'll save that. That doesn't play as well in my opinion, like with this curved line. So that's kind of an interesting contrast. I wonder what else we could do with that. I kind of like that idea of cutting off a corner. Maybe, I mean, we could do 2 and see if, well, I don't know if that would. Let's go back. I'm gonna get rid of the uppercase one more time, but then let's mirror this on the bottom right. So we kind of got like that half of a pill shape. I wonder if that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm not loving that one so much. Let me turn that off. Yeah, I do like this though. I do like this idea of like cutting off a corner. It does still make it kind of friendlier, and maybe it's just a little bit too huge. But there's some fun that we can have with this. So I appreciate the comment. I apologize for waiting so long to get to it. So in case you're still on the stream, let me know if there was something else that you wanted to see. But yeah, I just we'll just recap kind of what we did. I'm really interested in this idea of using type as paint, like painting with typography, painting with words, using this instead of just using a generic AI image. Not that they're awful, it's just that I'm seeing too much of them now. And so I'm just wondering if there's like ways that we can incorporate this text in a way that's accessible. Again, that was really important. Something a little bit more punchy, something, I don't know, playing with these shapes again, that's fun. There's just a lot of really cool things that I think that this exercise is helping me to work through. Something that I love to do is explore these ideas of like systems and like, I don't know, like, because typography is a system, how humans interact with typography is also this creativity. That's the kind of stuff I write about in my newsletter. So it's not so much like technical stuff, but if you are interested in kind of exploring how we relate as humans to our technology, or vice versa, maybe how our technology relates to how we think about things, I think that there's a lot of overlap in like how technology reflects a human's thought process, and I think we can, I don't know, I that's just something I explore. I explore that every week in Cyborg. So if you're interested, that link is in the bottom at the description. But we have some really cool, I think, ways to break out of just that standard text and image section that you see in marketing websites, especially all the time. And I'm just excited to explore where we can push this even more. And so let me know if there's something else that you would like to see us try. Maybe there's some something you want to send me a link or whatever on Pinterest or whatever down below in the comments, and I'll go see if we can figure out ways that we can incorporate our CSS in a way that's accessible, and also like just a fresh take on this concept, because we see this all the time. This is like your standard trope, so there's got to be ways to make this invigorate this, right? Breathe some more life into this, for the design sake and for just technology's sake, for accessibility, for all of that stuff. I think there's some really cool themes that we've explored here. So thank you so much for coming along with me on this journey, and we'll see you around on the next one. Thank you.